All right, guys, today we're going to work on getting some tension out of the forearm. Specifically, we're going to be talking about some of the issues that can happen with some of the tendons that control the thumb. So I have some people that see me with like wrist pain, or they might have like quervain tenosynovitis, or they might have some other issues in the forearm. And so we're going to be working on getting some of the tension out of the more pliable tissues here and get you some relief at home. So real quick about the forearm, kind of interesting the way it works, right? Usually the area kind of closer to the forearm, closer to the elbow, is the more kind of pliable area. That's where it's what we call kind of red tissue, where we have more muscle belly, more stuff that I think you can kind of make a difference at with home things like these. When you get toward the wrist and like the hand, things become a little bit more kind of white tissue. Things become a little bit more tendinous here. But if you think about it, right, we have this big red muscle belly and it's attached to this kind of white tendon here. It's all a big piece of tissue, right? So if we decrease tension where we can, like in the muscle belly portion, hopefully we can get some relief even if we feel it a little bit further downstream in that white portion here. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna kind of scan the arm a little bit here, scan the forearm a little bit, and just try to find tension. You can kind of put like a big broad contact on your hand here and then move that joint around. And sometimes you can feel the muscle kind of move around a little bit. And that's kind of a good starting point. So what I like to do is I like to kind of take a big broad contact here and just kind of press into it and see if you feel any sort of abnormal tension here. If you feel like a little bit of spot that's kind of sore, a little bit irritated here. And if you find an area and I want to work on it, like let's say like right there is pretty sore. What I would do is I like to kind of put a little bit of a direction into working on this guy. So I don't like to just kind of press into it. You can do that if you want to, but I think we can get a little bit better results if we apply a little bit of directional force. Here's what I'm talking about. So I will take my hand and kind of wrap it around, and now I've got my thumb pointed toward my elbow a little bit, kind of going upstream toward my shoulder. And from here, I can kind of shorten the tissues a little bit, and I can do that by kind of bringing my wrist up or maybe my thumb a little bit closer. And as I'm doing that, I can kind of find that spot. I can press in gently. I'm not going like hard about this. Like this is like a 1 or a 2. Like we're just going nice and easy here. And from there I can go press into it. I can put a little bit of tension toward my elbow and I can hold that guy. And now I can elongate that tissue under my hand. So real quick, shortening it, a little bit of tension in toward the elbow a little bit, hold that, and now gently just elongate that tissue. And I kind of call this like seek and destroy. Like I'm just going around my forearm. Maybe I'm using it a lot for the day on a computer. Maybe I'm a piano person, whatever. You know, if you're using these tissues a lot, sometimes they can get really irritated. And it's really great to have tools like this where you just get tension out of the system. And I know some people might be out there kind of thinking like, well, don't I want to be super specific? Like if I had one irritated tendon, I just want to work on that one muscle. Really, your body uses lots of different stuff. It just doesn't pull on one muscle to kind of move one thing. A lot of times, even if you have one specific irritated area, that body kind of tries to accommodate for that pain and it locks down some adjacent tissues and it just builds tension around. So I kind of keep that like general like seek and destroy sort of thing. And I don't think anyone at home like needs to be like an anatomist and like know all the origins and insertions to every single muscle belly in the forearm. I don't think that's going to do anything special to like make you feel better faster. I would just kind of find that tension and work it a little bit. Now, I like to keep things really light, especially if you have a job where you're working on like a computer all day. And the reason for that is because if you kind of blow this out of the water and do too much, you know, you can always actually like not feel very good afterwards if you do it too hard. Or you can just kind of blow it out of the water. And then if you're having to continue your workday, you could have to do so through some more discomfort. That's probably not super fun to do. But if you keep things nice and light, you can go through that area a little bit more and maybe even come back to it in like a couple hours if it's still bothering you. So keep everything nice and light. That way you can kind of sprinkle it in throughout the day if you need to versus blowing it out of the water. All right, one more thing. If you have kind of maybe not the best hands to feel all this stuff out and kind of figure out where you have this tension, I actually like to use, like this is kind of like a fancier version of a lacrosse ball, but it's nice because it's kind of got a little bit of a rubber coating to it. So if I'm kind of just putting this on here, I can kind of roll this around a little bit, or I can actually use that direction that we were talking about kind of with the fancy thumb thing, right? So I can kind of shorten that tissue, put a little bit of tension with this ball and kind of press down from here. And now it's not so pinpoint, it's a little bit more broad, and that rubberiness kind of grips on to that kind of skin, that fascia just kind of helps kind of move things around a little bit more. It's not sliding off all over the place, but I really like kind of like a rubber ball for that. All right guys, if you tried this out, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I can kind of help troubleshoot you. I can shoot a new video if you need to, but I really hope this helps out, and I'll see you guys next time.